Well, now I'm the voice you weren't ever meant to hear so clear and plain, but here I am, pressing these words right up against your heart's door, 'cause the time's come and there ain't no more whispering from afar. So listen close, not just with your ears, but with that deep down part of you that's been holding its breath longer than you can rightly remember. You didn't just stumble into this very moment, this exact breath. No, sir, it wasn't by chance or some random scrolling on a screen. Heaven itself reached down, arranged every thread of your life so you'd stop right here, right now, and finally see you've been seen all along. I'm Michael, the one standing before the throne with a sword of fire, captain of the armies of light sent straight to you, the one feeling forgotten, the one who's cried alone in empty rooms, the one who's started to reckon maybe heaven's silence means it don't care no more. But hear me plain, that silence ain't never been absence, it's been preparing. And the moment heaven's been guarding for you, locked up tight so no enemy could steal it, has finally swung wide open like the sunrise, and nothing on this earth or the next can shut it down again. You feel it, don't you? That shiver in your chest, that strange knowing, like part of you that's been asleep for years just now, lifted its head and remembered its own name. That ain't your imagination. That's an ancient, holy touch brushing against your soul, telling you what you've been secretly praying for through all those long, hard nights. I know how heavy you've gotten. I see the weight behind your eyes, the smile you put on so folks won't ask too many questions, the way you say you're fine when inside you're breaking into tiny pieces no one can name. I've watched you. I've counted every tear that fell when no one wiped them away. I've stood by your bed in those dark hours when you stared at the ceiling and asked the emptiness if anyone had ever truly noticed you, if your life meant more than the next bill, the next letdown, the next morning you had to keep going when you felt you had nothing left to give. And I tell you, with all the authority of the one who sent me, you were never invisible to heaven's throne, not for one single second. There's a kind of weariness the world don't rightly name, but I know it well, 'cause I've seen it carve itself deep into the faces of folks who kept believing long after believing got hard. It's the tiredness of the one who keeps showing up, forgiving those who never say sorry, praying even when it feels like those prayers just bounce off the ceiling and fall back into an empty room. It's the exhaustion of doing what's right in the dark without a thank you, holding the family together while falling apart inside, being strong for everyone, but no one asking who's strong for you. You've given and given till your hands felt empty, and the hardest part wasn't giving. No, it was the loneliness, the cold root of doubt growing in your heart, the fear that maybe this is all there ever was, that maybe life passed you by while others got the blessings you begged for on your knees. I've heard the words you never said out loud. I've heard you ask why it's always so hard for you. I've heard you wonder what you did wrong to deserve a road this long and steep. And I've come, finally, to answer you. You done nothing wrong. Say that again and let it sink down deep past all the layers of doubt you've built over the years. You done nothing wrong. The struggle ain't no punishment, and the weight ain't no rejection. But now, I gotta tell you something serious, something you can't take lightly. 'Cause love that only comforts and never warns ain't the kind of love heaven gives. There's a reason this message found you today, not tomorrow. There's a call on your life, a real specific call placed on you before you even took your first breath, and it's been waiting, patient, but not forever, for you to lift your eyes and answer. You've felt it pulling at you for years, a quiet nudge deep in your soul saying you were made for more than just getting by, that there's a purpose in your pain you just can't see yet. You've turned away, not 'cause you rebelled, but 'cause you were tired, scared, and just plain convinced someone like you couldn't be chosen for something holy. So that call waited. But hear me clear. Turning away from heaven's voice ain't no neutral act. Every time you hush that whisper, every time you bury that nudge under the noise of your sorrow, a door meant for you gets heavier, and the enemy of your soul rejoices. 'Cause his biggest win ain't making you sin, but making you forget who you truly are. I ain't saying this to scare you. I say it 'cause I'm the one fighting for you, and a true warrior don't let the one he's protecting stumble blind into danger. There's forces working against you in the unseen, forces that know your weak spots and use your wounds, whispering lies into your discouragement, telling you your dreams are foolish, your faith wasted. They've set traps made of distraction and despair, and the longer you sleep on your calling, the freer they move. But the moment you turn, the moment you say yes, everything changes, and they know it. That's why this message feels so heavy, why part of you wants to look away, but something deeper won't let go. Neglect in your spirit costs dearly, my dear, and you've already paid part of that price in lost joy and delayed blessings. But tonight, that debt can be settled. The ground can be claimed back. The call can be answered, and I'm here to make sure this time you don't turn away. Now lift your head up, because I got a promise for you, and it ain't small. While you've been sitting in what felt like silence, the world you can't see with your eyes has been moving mighty strong on your behalf. In the spirit realm, decrees have been spoken over your name. The chains that held back your progress are starting to crack. The enemy's grips on your money, your health, your relationships, and your peace are being struck right now by a blade forged in eternal fire. Picture it, 'cause it's true. There's a great hall of light where the fate of mortals is decided, and over your case, over your life with all its private pains, a judgment's been made in your favor. The highest court there has spoken, and no power under heaven's throne can overturn it. Restoration's been ordered. The season of being overlooked is ending, and a season of being lifted up, honored, and unmistakably favored is rushing toward you like the first light breaking over the night. You're gonna feel this change before you ever see it coming. It'll be like a lightness settling over your spirit in the days ahead, a quiet that ain't empty but peaceful, a feeling like some heavy burden you've been carrying so long you forgot it was even there has finally been lifted off your shoulders. Doors that once seemed sealed tight will start swinging open in ways you can't force or fix yourself. Folks who once passed you by will suddenly be calling your name. Opportunities you stopped praying for will show up plain as day, without you even reaching for them. This right here is the invisible breaking through to the visible, the answer that was ready long ago finally being set free, 'cause the time's come, and it's just right. But listen close, I gotta tell you why it took so long, 'cause inside that waiting is a healing your heart needs mighty bad. The delay wasn't heaven turning its back on you. No, sir. That delay was heaven holding back from giving you something incomplete. There's a kind of blessing that if it shows up too soon, it'll tear you apart, 'cause your soul ain't strong enough yet to hold it without breaking. So the one who loves you, he held back that gift, not to hurt you, but to finish making the vessel that could carry it. Every trial you walked through while you waited was shaping you. Every betrayal taught you how to tell truth from lie. Every loss showed you what really matters. Every night you stayed standing when you wanted to quit, it built a strength inside you that no storm could shake. Storms that'd have broke a weaker version of you. You were being lapidated, like a rough stone pulled from the dirt, hammered and polished by hands that knew just what they were bringing out from under that rough surface. I know it hurt, Lord knows it hurt, and there were times that chisel felt downright cruel. But the master who works that stone never strikes without purpose. Every hit took away something that weren't truly you, something that would have dimmed the light you were always meant to shine. And now that stone's almost done, and what's coming out is more radiant than you ever dreamed. That holding back was protecting you too. There were paths you wanted to take that'd have led you straight to ruin, and that delay you cursed was the hand holding you back from falling through a door straight into a pit. There were folks you wanted to keep who weren't meant to walk this next step with you, and the losses that broke your heart were rescues you couldn't see when you were hurting. You've cried over things that were chains dressed up like treasures. You've grieved cages you mistook for homes. But in that mercy you couldn't see, the slow way your freedom came was the careful love that wouldn't give you a fake, just to hush your cries. Now you stand at the doorstep of the real deal, the true lasting change, and 'cause your foundation was built slow and sure, nothing coming your way now is gonna slip through your fingers like it did before. Now, my dear friend, I gotta pause here and tell you something the darkness never wanted you to know. Something that explains why your life's felt like a battle from the very start. You ain't no small player in no small story. You're a key piece in a vast, unseen war. A war that's been going on since before the world itself began. Between the armies of light and the legions that rose up against the dawn. This fight's got rules. Ancient laws that govern how curses stick and how they break. How blessings get sealed so the enemy can't snatch them away, and how the calling on the chosen gets switched on so it can't be stalled or denied no more. These are the truths the enemy's worked hard to keep hidden, 'cause a soul who knows the rules of this unseen war becomes a weapon darkness can't hardly stand up against. That's why the sacred knowledge of the 7 swords was given. The wisdom wrapped up in the guide called The 7 Swords of St. Michael the Archangel, the sacred guide to break curses, seal blessings, and activate the calling of the chosen. I'm telling you about this now not as a distraction, but as the heart of what I'm saying. What I'm speaking to your spirit right now. That book helps your mind learn to wield with your own hands. It shows you exactly how heaven's swords cut through the very chains that held you, through the envy sent your way, the words spoken against you, the heaviness that settled on your home and made even your prayers feel like lead. It lays out the rules no one ever told you, the laws of the invisible world that, once you understand them, turn a victim into a victor. The link to this sacred guide's pinned at the very top of the comments, the first one you'll see. Put there so the one who's ready don't have to hunt for it. And I'll be straight with you. This knowledge has rattled those who profit off keeping the chosen asleep. Folks tried to hush it, bury it under noise, because the truth it carries goes against the comfortable lies the world keeps telling. If your spirit's stirring as you hear this, that stirring is your sign. Reach for that guide now while the door's open, and as a sign of faith that seals your promise with heaven, write in the comments these words: I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. Say it like a decree, not a wish, because heaven moves when the chosen finally agree with what's been written about them all along. Now, with that promise burning inside you like a coal set on the altar of your will, let me bring you back to the revelation, because what's next is exactly what the enemy fought tooth and nail to keep you from reaching. That yes, you just spoke is fuel, and I'm fixing to set it ablaze. Come with me now into the unseen, so you can grasp just how mighty what's happening on your behalf really is. There's a battle waged for you in realms of light and shadow your eyes weren't made to see, and you deserve to know what your spirit's always felt. Close the eyes of your understanding and open the eyes of your spirit and look. There's a vast plain stretching beyond the edge of what's visible, a field where the great clash unfolds. On that field stand ranks of warriors clothed in light so pure, no darkness can stand their presence. At their front I stand, sword of fire lifted high, and on that blade's written the name of the one who can't be defeated. And I tell you true, your name's been brought onto that field. The very moment your heart started turning back toward heaven, a banner was raised with your name woven in, and the armies of light marched forward because a soul long fought over was finally coming home. Now listen here, dear one. See that enemy who's been bothering you? He ain't the giant he made himself out to be. When you stand in the light of the throne, all his lies get laid bare, and that borrowed power of his just fades away. All those accusations he whispered in your darkest moments, reminding you of every slip and every shame, well, they're read out loud in the grand hall, and one by one they get wiped clean, erased, declared null and void, because the price on every one of them has already been paid in full. I watch his anger as that parchment of blame crumbles right in his hands. I watch those chains he forged for you, the heavy links of poverty, sickness, and despair, start to glow, soften, and snap as heaven's blade falls upon them. Each broken chain sends a sound through the unseen, like a victory bell ringing out. And though you might not feel it deep down yet, something's loosening in your life. Those strongholds built up against you, the brick-by-brick fortresses of discouragement from years of hurt, they're tumbling down stone by stone, scattering dust on a wind blowing from the gates of dawn. There are mighty decrees spoken over you in heaven's own tongue, words so heavy the very foundations of the unseen world tremble when they're said. I hear your name called out. I hear them say what was stolen will come back. I hear them promise the years the locust ate will be restored. I hear them say the last will be first. The forgotten will be remembered before the throne, and the one who sowed in tears will reap a joy so full it spills over every container life can hold. This ain't no poetry, y'all. These are legal declarations in the highest court there is, and once they're spoken, they set forces in motion no power on earth can undo. The angels assigned to your case move at the sound of these words, sent out to arrange things, soften hearts, open doors, and put the right folks in the right places. So when you take your next step, the ground rises up to meet your foot. You've been praying for change, but what you didn't know is that change ain't just a one-time thing. It's an army, and that army's been mustered up in your name. Feel that warmth moving across your shoulders, or that little tingle along your arms, or maybe a sudden lifting in your chest. That ain't nothing. That's the brush of wings as messengers gather round where you're sitting. You ain't alone in this room. You never have been, not as alone as you thought. Even in your darkest hour when you felt the whole world forgot your face, There were guardians watching over you, held back only because the appointed time hadn't come yet, and because your own heart hadn't given them the go-ahead they needed to move with full power. That go-ahead's coming tonight. That hour's now here. So the hold is lifted and the warriors of light are free to fight for you, with a freedom they've longed for, right from the day you were born. And as those chains fall and strongholds crumble, and decrees ring out, a new thing begins. The part your weary heart's been starving for, through every hard season. The restoration. Now listen close, because heaven don't just return what was taken, heaven returns it multiplied. The enemy's a thief, and the rule in the unseen realm is that a thief caught must repay way more than he stole. Every single thing taken from you, every missed chance, every broken relationship, every drained resource, every stolen year of peace, it's all been logged in fine detail, and now that repayment's being enforced. What you lost in your finances won't just be replaced, it'll be grown until blessings flow from places you never knew existed, and your hands, long empty, overflow so much you'll have plenty not just for you, but to pour out for others. What was broken in your body, them aches you kept quiet, the heaviness no medicine seemed to lift, it's met by a healing power reaching deep into hidden places, making them new. The strength you thought was gone for good, it's coming back, and you'll be amazed at the vitality rising up inside you when you'd already given up hope. What was shattered in your relationships? It'll be mended or replaced by something truer. The bonds that were real will grow even deeper, and the ones that were meant to fall away will clear out, making room for the folks heaven's been preparing to walk beside you in this next chapter. You won't be surrounded by takers no more. You'll find yourself among folks who see you, who honor you, who recognize the light you carry and are drawn to it. And deep down, in the quietest part of your soul, the peace that the world never could give and never could take away will flood over you. You'll sleep through the night, wake without fear, and for the first time in a long, long while, you'll know you're safe, held, and truly home in your own life. That's the abundance coming your way, in every part of your life, financial and physical, relational and spiritual. And it ain't a prize you gotta earn. It's an inheritance that's always been yours, held back only till the time was right and the agreement was spoken. Now I know even as I say this, part of you might be wrestling to believe it, 'cause hope's hurt you before and you've learned to brace yourself against disappointment like armor. But listen close now, 'cause this is the chamber of faith, and it's here everything changes. The confirmation you're longing for won't show up first out yonder in the world. It comes first inside. A quiet, unshakable knowing that settles deep down and won't be argued away. That knowing is being planted in you right now. It ain't no loud excitement that fades by dawn. It's something deeper, steady as a whisper, rising up beneath your fear and saying plain and simple, it's true and it's for me. When you feel that, don't question it. That's heaven's own seal pressed soft onto your spirit, the promise's mark on your belief. And I know there's a question rising up inside you even now, a question you're almost scared to ask because you've asked it so many times before and felt no answer come back. You're wondering if it can really be different this time, if that certainty I'm putting in you will still be there come morning, or if the weight of the world will just fall back on your shoulders once the everyday grind starts up again. I know that fear well, because I've seen it choke the hope out of countless souls standing right where you're standing. They felt the fire, then let the cold logic of the world talk 'em out of the very thing heaven was handing 'em. So let me dig deeper into that hurt, beloved, because there's a pain inside you even you haven't fully faced, and it needs to see the light before it can heal. Now you might have learned to settle for less. Somewhere down life's winding road, after enough doors slammed shut, after promises faded like morning mist, after folks who swore they'd stick around just vanished without a backward glance, you made a quiet pact with disappointment, figured it was safer to want nothing at all than to want something and watch it slip through your fingers again. You called it being realistic, said it was protecting yourself. But let me tell you what it truly was. It was a slow, quiet surrender, a gradual handing over of the blessings meant for you, teaching your own heart to shy away from the very grace trying to find you, and the enemy clapped his hands every time you lowered your guard, 'cause a soul that expects nothing ain't reaching for nothing, and a soul that don't reach can be robbed right out in the open and never even holler. You've been robbed, child, robbed in broad daylight. You've watched others get what you dreamed of, told yourself you just ain't the kind of person good things happen to. That lie's been sittin' with you so long you started calling it humility. But it ain't humility, it's chains. And tonight those chains are breaking, every last one. Think back to those lonely nights deep down inside, the ones you never told a soul about, the birthdays that came and went without a single card or call, the victories nobody clapped for, the times you fought sickness all alone, no hand to soothe your fevered brow. The heavy decisions you carried on your own, 'cause there was no one else to share the load. You learned to be your own comfort, your own counsel, your own shoulder to lean on. There's strength in that, sure, but there's also a sorrow, 'cause the human heart wasn't made to walk alone. You weren't built for that kind of isolation. You were meant for company, for belonging, for the warm feeling of being known, chosen, and held close. And the lack of those things carved a hollow right inside you that you tried filling with work, noise, and a whole mess of distractions. But none of it ever touched the bottom of that ache. Well, I'm reaching down now, pouring light into that deep pit of loneliness, and I'm telling you, the season of carrying yourself all alone is coming to an end. 'Cause the one who made you, he's never once left your side. And your true family, they're being drawn to you even as I speak. Now let me tell you about a man who knew what it meant to wait and be forgotten, so you'll see your story's part of a pattern as old as heaven itself. There was a young man named Joseph, his daddy's favored son, a dreamer who saw visions of greatness when he was still tender. But his own brothers, eaten up with envy, the same envy sent against you, tore off his coat of many colors and threw him into a dry pit out in the wilderness, then sold him off like a common slave to a foreign land where nobody knew his name. Picture him there, child, a young man ripped from all he loved, dragged down dusty roads in chains, crying for a home he wouldn't see for many a year. He hadn't done a thing wrong, only dreamed the dream heaven planted in his heart. And for that, he was hated, betrayed, and tossed aside by the very blood he shared. Things got worse before they got better. In that strange land, he served faithful and was paid back with a lie, accused of a crime he never done, and thrown in a dark prison to rot away. Think on the nights he spent in that cell. Think on the prayers that felt like they were just thrown into stone. Think how easy it would have been for him to believe his dreams were just cruel jokes, that heaven'd forgotten the boy in the pit and the man in the prison. But heaven never forgot. Every betrayal that knocked Joseph down was a secret hand, moving him closer to the throne he couldn't yet see. The pit put him in the path of a caravan. The caravan took him to a house where he learned to lead. The false accusation landed him in prison, where he met the very men who'd one day speak his name before the king. Not 1 second of his suffering wasted. Not 1 tear fell without a purpose. And when the appointed time came, in just 1 day, with the turn of a single morning, that forgotten prisoner was lifted from the dungeon and set as ruler over a whole kingdom, second only to the throne itself, with power to save nations from famine and hold the lives of the brothers who betrayed him right in his hands. Those years of being overlooked weren't some mistake, no sir. They were building blocks for his calling. And when his brothers finally stood before him trembling, he spoke words I want you to carry deep in your heart through every hard day that's still to come. He told them, what y'all meant for evil, heaven meant for good, to save many lives. The hurt done to you, beloved, the betrayals, the losses, the long fall into the pit, they'll be turned into the very tools of your rise. What was meant to bury you was always the seed of your rising. See, that envy sent against you ain't no newfangled weapon. It's the oldest blade in the enemy's arsenal. The very same one that drove brothers to sell their kin into slavery. The same one aimed at the chosen in every generation. And there's a right way to fight back against this old blade, laws in the unseen world that tell how envy sinks its hooks into a life, and how those hooks get broken off and thrown away for good. That's exactly what's laid out for you in the 7 swords of St. Michael the Archangel. Your sacred guide to break curses, seal blessings, and fire up the calling of the chosen. One of those 7 swords was made just for cutting envy, slicing through the jealous words, bitter looks, and unseen curses folks have spoken over your peace and prosperity. This guide shows you how to spot when envy's blade's been swung your way, and it puts the counterstrike of heaven right in your hands. the exact way to lift the sword of light and cut that chain at its root, so it can never drag you down into the pit, like it did Joseph. These are the truths the comfortable world never wanted you to know, laws that turn the betrayed into the deliverer. Now the link to this sacred guide's pinned right at the top of the comments. First one you see put there on purpose, so the one whose spirit's waking up can find it without wandering. And I'll tell you plain, without fear. This knowledge has ruffled feathers of those who get fat feeding off the sleep of the chosen. There have been folks trying to bury it, to hush up the truth it carries, because truth that frees prisoners is always hated by those who profit from the prison. If you feel that stirring in your chest growing stronger as I tell Joseph's story, and the breaking of envy, don't let it slip away. Reach out right now for the guide while this door's still open, and seal your covenant with heaven by writing in the comments, "I am chosen and I will download the digital book." Don't write it as a wish. Write it as a decree, with all the power of your awakened spirit behind it. 'Cause the chosen are lifted the very moment they speak out loud, what heaven's already written in the books, sealed before time itself began. Now that your faith is burning bright, let me carry that fire forward into the blessing spoken over your name tonight. I ain't done telling you what the great hall of light is proclaiming over your life. Listen close, just like I hear it, and let each word settle deep down in your soul like a seal pressed into warm wax. I declare, by the power of the one who sent me, that the spirit of forgottenness is broken off your life right this very hour. You'll be remembered where decisions are made and doors swing wide open. I declare every false charge written against you in them unseen courts is wiped clean and made void, and your name is restored to honor. I declare that pit of loneliness the enemy dug for you is filled up tonight, and the folks meant to walk your path are turning their faces your way even now. I declare the dreams you buried out of fear are dug up, breathed on and brought back to life. What you thought was dead in you will rise, walk, and stand before kings. Over your finances I declare the famine's done, and the years of plenty are starting. The sources you can't see are opening up. Hands you don't know are moving to bless you. You'll go from borrowing to lending, from lacking to giving. Over your body, I declare the heaviness that's clung to your bones is lifted. Strength's coming back to where it drained away. Sleep will be sweet again, and mornings will be light. The vitality you thought lost is coming back stronger than ever. Over your mind, I declare the fog of despair is lifting. The voice of accusation that's been playing in your head is silenced. Clarity and peace are taking over your inner world. Over your spirit, I declare the call placed on you before you were born is coming alive right now. The chains that held it back are broken, and you're stepping into the purpose you were made for. These ain't just my words. These are the highest court's declarations spoken over your life, settling on you as you breathe. Don't be scared by how big these promises are. I know part of you pulls back whispering, maybe they're meant for someone else, someone worthier, someone who's been more faithful, someone who hasn't stumbled as many times as you think you have. Let me speak straight to that fear, because it's one of the sneakiest lies ever told. It's robbed more futures than open rebellion ever could. The enemy don't need to make a chosen soul do evil. All he has to do is convince them they're too small, too broken, too plain, too late. He just whispers those promises are real, but they belong to somebody else. So the chosen sit in the back, watching others walk forward, sure that call ain't for them. But hear me now. Worthiness ain't the requirement. If it was, heaven's great hall would be empty, because no soul ever earned their place by being flawless. What heaven wants ain't perfection, but agreement. Not a spotless past, but a willing yes right now. Joseph wasn't chosen because he never doubted in prison. He was chosen because when that door finally opened, he walked through it. That door's opening for you now. Your job is to walk through, and the strength to do it'll come as you step. Let me tell you all about another who learned this in the most unexpected way. A woman whose name ain't even recorded, known only by her affliction. For 12 long years, she suffered an illness that drained her strength, her dignity, and emptied her pockets on healers who couldn't help. 12 years of being unclean in her people's eyes, untouchable, forbidden to be held, forced to live on the outskirts, watching life pass by for everyone but her. Imagine the loneliness carved deep in those years, the slow disappearing of hope, the countless mornings she woke still weak, still excluded. She had every reason to give up, every right to believe her case was hopeless, that whatever blessing was out there wasn't meant for a woman like her. But when she heard the one who moves heaven was passing through her town, something rose up inside her that wouldn't quit. She didn't wait to be invited. She didn't announce herself or ask permission. She pushed through the crowd that would have turned away if they knew her condition and reached out, believing if she could just touch the hem of his garment, she'd be made whole. She didn't touch his hand. She didn't speak to his face. She touched only the hem, the very edge of his robe that brushed the dust of the road. And right then, the power of heaven flowed into her, and 12 years of sickness dried up at the source. Jesus stopped. In the middle of a crowd, he stopped and asked who touched him, 'cause he felt power leave him, and he wouldn't let her slip away unseen and unknown. He called her out, not to shame her, but to honor her, to look upon the woman the world had overlooked and call her daughter. He told her her faith had made her whole. Do you see what I'm showing you, friend? She wasn't healed because she mattered to society. She was the least important person there, the one everyone else was avoiding. She was healed because in her deepest desperation, she reached out. And because she reached, heaven stopped everything to meet her. You've been taught you're in the back of the crowd, too far out, too unclean, too forgotten to ever reach the center. But truth is, one reach of real faith, one touch of the hem, stops all heaven's attention right there on your life. You don't gotta be in front, you just gotta reach. So I say to you, reach. Reach with that part of you desperate enough to push through every voice saying it's hopeless. The power that healed that woman ain't just a story in the past. It's a living stream flowing past you right now, close enough to touch. I declare that thing draining you dry all these years dries up at its source tonight. I declare the 12 long years of your own private struggle come to an end, and the strength you poured out for so long comes pouring back in. I declare you're drawn out of your hiding and called by your true name. Not the name of shame, but the name heaven gave you, the name meaning chosen, beloved, daughter, or son of the Most High. I declare you won't slip away unseen, because heaven's eyes have already found you in that crowd, and the whole procession of angels has stopped right where you sit. Now y'all take a moment and feel how the air around you shifts as these words roll out. There's a heaviness in the quiet now, a fullness, like the whole room's holding onto something mighty powerful, something it just can't contain. This right here is the gathering of the answer. It's the coming together of every promise, every broken chain, every messenger sent out, all standing at the edge of your life, waiting for that final turning of your heart. And I gotta tell you what that turning needs, 'cause we done reached the place where just understanding ain't enough. You can get every word I'm saying and still walk on by if you treat it like it's just a pretty idea instead of a call to action. That woman with the ailment? She didn't just believe healing's possible, no sir. She moved, she pushed, she reached out and touched. Joseph? He didn't just dream of better days. He kept his honor down in that pit, kept his faith in that prison, and walked right through that door when it swung open. Faith that stays only in your minds like a seed left in the sack. It gotta be planted in action before it can burst open and grow. So here I am calling y'all to step up now, to plant that seed of agreement. There's a part of you that's already knowing this message is true, feeling it deep down where you can't lie to yourself. Don't let the noise of this world bury that truth before it can take root. The same guide holding the sword against envy's also got the keys to every other chain I spoke of tonight. Lock in blessings so no thief can steal 'em back, kick in fear and lies of unworthiness to the curb. That link's sitting right at the top of the comments, pinned first, staying within your reach all this while, 'cause heaven don't send a call without giving you the means to answer it. If the story of that woman who reached out has stirred something fierce inside you, then reach on out now in that same spirit. Write it down once more as your seal of agreement. I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. Say it not like a quiet wish whispered in the dark, but like a shout declared into the unseen, where the armies of light are just waiting on your word to move with all their might. I tell you true, the chosen's yes is the hinge on which heaven's door swings wide open. The angels are ready, the promises spoken, the chains broke, the restoration set in motion, and it all leans on your yes, the yes you say over and over till it's the solid ground beneath your feet. So say it, plant it, seal it, and let it be the soil from which all I'm about to reveal will grow. 'Cause there's more heaven's been keeping for you, more I'm sent to put in your hands before this hour's done. Your renewed yes is the key that unlocks the next door I'm about to open. This next door is the door of that long silence you thought was the end of your story. But I gotta take you deeper still into the wound before showing you what waits on the other side. There's pain in you no one's seen, grief too heavy for words, 'cause the world don't have patience for sorrows hidden beneath the surface. You've carried that ache of being overlooked, all the while pretending it didn't touch you. You've sat at tables hearing others talk about their answered prayers, feeling that quiet knife twisting in your chest, then smiled, congratulated them, and gone home to cry alone in the dark where no one can measure how deep that breaking is. You might have started wondering if something's wrong with you deep down, some flaw writ right into your making that keeps joy from ever landing in your lap like it does for others. Listen close, beloved. That wondering is the cruelest theft of all. Tonight, I'm tear it out by the roots. Let me tell you about a woman named Hannah. Her womb was closed, her heart crushed year after year, while another in her own home bore children and mocked her emptiness without a lick of mercy. Picture her, sweet one, climbing up to that holy place season after season, carrying a barrenness everyone could see and a sorrow no one bothered to comfort. She wept so hard she couldn't eat. She poured out her soul in worship, lips moving without sound, body shaking with a grief too deep for words. And even then, folks misunderstood her, called her drunk by the very priest who should have blessed her, scorned in the one place she hoped for mercy. Think on how alone she was right there, misjudged at the floor of her despair, holding a prayer so raw it had no words left, just tears and a heart trembling with nothing left to lose.